Some ask me, what do you see when you look inside the mirror? I say, same thing when I look at you. I said, you have become a mere image of me. But hey, I made them images too. And then I wonder, why can't I be what I always see what's inside of me? Daydreaming all day long. And then I wonder, why can't we be what we all want to be free? What makes me weak, not strong? I come along. Imagine, oh yeah, imagine, oh yeah, imagine, oh yeah, imagine you drink for real. Like to talk about a good vibration. I talk about using imagination. Oh yeah. Some tell you life is what you make it. Now who say we won't make it? Not time. Oh yeah. And then you hear them lectures from the rich man. Tell me who is the money rich man? Some politician man. I strive to make it every day. In spiritual, no, not just a night and some dream. No, the verbal and emotional gifts, yes, that makes you rich. Not just the kind that are green. Imagine, oh yeah, imagine. You should imagine now. Yes, you should imagine you drink for real, yeah. A dream of peace. Let's do away with that hate and not just American dreams. Oh yeah, I need to talk about a dream of faith, a dream of hope, a dream of my good love, my job walking with us again within. Now one man's dream, another man's reality. Don't mean our life are not for real, and some think that our life are only in the dream, but not what the soul has stuff is. I come along, y'all. Yes, I say I come along. Yes, I say can come along. I come along. I come on. Yeah, yeah. Imagine. Yeah, imagine. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Imagine. Your dreams for real.
Pittsburgh, North Carolina. Enjoying this Thursday, getting our relax on as we look forward to the weekend. You hear what I'm saying? What's going on, man?
What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm good. Turn me up my headphones. Ain't that what they say? Turn me up my headphones.
Okay.
But yeah, we're Thursday, and we're talking about music, art, food, and the happenings here in Chatham County. We're glad that you guys are listening. Want you to share the stream, share the stream, share the stream. You know, we've been covering a lot of music, and last week, Waking Up Mo came, and they did our flagship music in studio music session, and that was really, really cool. And thank everyone for sharing the stream. Thank you to the guys for coming through. And so we figured we'll kick off this this Thursday with our flagship in studio art people. How about that?
I think that's a good idea.
I think that's a good idea. So, without further ado, flagship moment here. Check the sound,
Yeah.
Circle City Recording. Ladies and gentlemen, won't you welcome to the sofa, Brother Tim Lee. What's going on, Tim?
Thanks. No, I'm just hanging out, having a good time. Thanks for having me, guys. I
Yeah,
really
man, thank you.
appreciate it. It's cool to be here and talk to y'all.
Well, as I look around, I see some of your work all around us here, man.
Yeah, there might be a few pieces hanging in here. Some original paintings that have made it onto the walls of the studio.
Well,
It's great.
We were just talking, and I said, hey, did you draw as a kid? Was that one of your go-to things?
Yeah. I was one of those kids. I did a poster in 4th grade for the spaghetti supper, and it kind of just started from there as far as doing that. And then when I got to, I don't know, freshman year in high school, that's when I started really getting into it deeper and paying attention and actually getting, good grades as an artist.
When I was a kid, I remember a lot of cats were drawing, the Hulk and the Thing and
Mhm.
Spider-Man. That was what was on the comic books. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was a big thing. And then I had one buddy who was a huge race car fan. Remember model cars?
Oh yeah, I built some
Oh,
of those. Oh, yeah.
see, he would do the model cars and he would draw them, man. So I always think that art, as a kid, you don't stumble upon it. It's just a part of you. I think.
Right. Yeah, I drew a lot of motocross bikes. That was my thing. I was really
Yeah.
into that in high school, and so that was my deal. I was drawing those, and then started copying like album covers from bands like Uriah Heep and King Crimson and stuff like that. And that
What
got
is
me
the
going.
difference? Because you make sure that in being an artist, you're an illustrator.
I'm
So
an
so
illustrator.
what's the difference? What's the defining line?
Well, there's illustrators are always they're commercial art, so you're going to get paid for your work. So you're not creating work on spec. So you get an assignment, and someone gives you a story, or maybe a few words from a story that is going to be written eventually, and then they say, come up with a concept, and then do an illustration for this magazine page or the cover, or maybe it's a product sometimes, but so you have to come up with the idea. And as fine arts, a painter would not do that. They would come up with their own ideas and then show at galleries.
So you're interpreting something that someone's trying to convey to you in another form, then
Yeah.
you're going to interpret that in an illustrated format.
Yeah, it's totally storytelling. It's kind of like a song. The lyrics of a song tell a story. Often it's the same thing for illustrators. That's what we're doing, is just
And
filling in the gaps.
and like music, just from looking at your art, growing up playing music, I played jazz music. I played in high school band. I sang madrigal music, classical music, jazz music, gospel music in church.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
through that, you find your own musical voice. And as I look around at your art, looks like you've done a lot of, as you said, get paid for your work and taking art class, taking it seriously. And through that, man, you created your own unique style, man,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah,
It's odd.
No, that's the. I worked for corporations for so long, and I was restricted by what we could put in the magazine, and you still had to have your style, but you couldn't do the subject matter. And then, as I stopped doing as much commercial stuff and started doing paintings that were my own stories, then I could get crazy with the style and let that kind of come out more and push it out to that's more like me.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
these paintings here that are in here, they're very much, music derivative, and that was a big part of what gave me subject matter. I started drawing on that well of all the music that I loved, and I played bluegrass for a long time, so I did a
That's
lot
right.
of bluegrass
I hear
series.
you're quite the player.
Nah. I can play the mandolin a little bit. It's been a long time.
So
That, yeah.
so original from Ohio. What part of Ohio? We got a lot of Ohio fans
Yeah,
watching.
woo.
What part of Ohio?
I'm from like northwest of Columbus in the flat area called Marion, Ohio. It's like 40,000 people.
Pick up all the people
soybeans.
from Marion, Ohio.
How
I
far
know
is
you're out
that
there
from Dunder Mifflin?
from Dunder Mifflin.
That's-
Oh yeah, it's kind of like that, only with cows. Yeah, it's like that part where you're going into the Midwestern. You go the further west you go, the flatter it gets. So coming down here and seeing rolling hills feels really good.
So you from Ohio, and somehow, how does anyone end up actually? I know how I ended up in Pittsburgh, but Pittsburgh
Man, yeah.
used to be, still is, used to be a very small town. How you end up in Pittsburgh, man?
I had a very well traveled life, and I've always made my living doing art, and I did magazine work, but I worked for newspapers, and so I ended up coming to Raleigh about 15 years ago to work for the News and Observer as an illustrator for them. And I have worked previously in Atlanta at the Journal Constitution.
Yeah, I worked in ATL.
In Asbury Park.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
And Tampa for a little bit.
Ybor City in the house. That's
that
where
was
D
pretty rockin'
Sunsetters are
back
from.
then.
Oh, it comes full circle.
Yeah, that was good.
John's like, I've been there too.
I haven't, but
You don't remember Ybor City. That's the problem. You were there.
So you make it here, and
And this, I lived in Cary
Yeah.
and started making day trips, and ended up in Pittsburgh and thought, wow, this is really cool. This reminds me of small town Ohio, and I always was nostalgic for that kind of stuff, and kept coming back and coming back and coming back. And I did an art show here in this town, 2011 at Davenport and Winkleberry's. It was
oh yeah,
like-
coffee shop by my house. now.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that was, and then years later, now we have an art store.
Oh,
that's a great story.
Yeah.
that is a
Kinda
great
weird.
story, man.
It's-
So tell us about your art store, art store, art store, art
Oddco.
store.
Well, Oddco is like best art store in West Pittsburgh.
See?
it is.
Yeah. No, it's kind of a weird, odd obviously, but it's kind of a great blend between, we do music, have music in there, but the focus originally, it was all on artwork and a lot of original artwork and signed prints from artists, not just from Pittsburgh or around here, but from all over the country. And the type of art is pop surrealism and pop culture based surrealism, just unusual stuff that you don't normally see, but is really, really popular in the art world, the underground art world. The kids that love Marvel, they love coming into the store because they see those kind of superhero things. We have some Japanese inspired anime type of stuff, type of artworks too. So it's got a lot of different things to offer, plus beer.
Yeah, plus beer, and
Yeah.
because you're local, and talk about what the buy local and locality here. You carry a little local beer, but how the local support is key and unique here.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's really great because Pittsburgh, we're that odd store in Pittsburgh, right? But it fits because Pittsburgh has always had that kind of been known for that, being cultural and accepting of all different kinds of art and music, and so it really is, Oddco is kind of a great fit for that. And then the people that have come in and supported us, we've made great friends in the 7 months that we've been there. And it just, hopefully, and I know for a fact that people are broadening seeing stuff that they've never seen before, and they're experiencing this new kind of art, and they're collecting it.
It's great colors in there. When you dim the lights, and
Oh yeah.
it has a very good color scheme, and very warm and welcoming, and it's got bakery next door too. I mean,
Oh
that's-
yeah, I mean
that's-
we have the awesome pastry. They're great people. We have New Horizons right there beside us, and so it's a really good little area that I think of Pittsburgh that's cool, and everybody from the downtown needs to cruise on out past Al's Diner.
And just to give somebody else a good idea that I do is I go by and get a sandwich from Phoenix Bakery right before 12 o'clock, and then I walk next door. This is on Sundays. Walk next door, grab a nice Keep It Odd IPA
go,
from
yeah.
Thirsty Skull, and sit there and eat my sandwich and have a beer. It's like they don't have beer at Phoenix, and they
Right.
don't have sandwiches at Oddco.
but
So-
together,
We can go.
it's like the chocolate and peanut butter. It's
Yeah.
like a Reese's
Oh, yeah.
cup. You meet them on the gravel parking lot.
Yeah, we're going across we're crossing paths there. It's
And you got a
great.
nice front porch there.
Yeah,
as
we got
well.
it's good when the weather's nice. A little chilly right now, but not. In the daytime, it's great for that, just hanging out.
So, as a newcomer here to the area, what do you know about what we have coming up with the 2019 Chatham Studio Tour.
I don't know a lot about the studio tour. I see a lot of signs, and I know there's a lot of really. I looked at the pamphlet last year, and it's some cool artwork going on in the area, and just I know that you go and visit other people's art studios. I won't let them in my studio because it's too trash.
Well, Oddco is your studio, and you
Oddco
have
is my
beer.
studio.
I mean, that's what
Hey,
makes it good.
I've actually been doing some painting in there the last few days, so I'm going to start doing more of that. So it is like my art studio because it's got my stuff, but it's everybody else too. So maybe we'll get on that someday. We'll see what happens.
Well, you are on it today because this is our kickoff to the celebration of the 2019
thanks, man.
Chatham Studio Art. Because you're in Chatham,
Yes.
Oddco's like a studio. You
Yep.
have art.
Yeah.
We go there on the beer tour of Pittsburgh. That we'll do.
The beer
we
crawl.
need to do it. Who said crawl, man? I try and walk the whole time. I try and walk the whole one.
It's good for you. Yeah.
But
I only crawled when I broke that ankle.
that's right. That's right. In the
Well,
man, you had
Hey,
some
we're not
really,
talking about that.
That's right.
yeah.
You had not only do you have some really cool music, you had a pretty notable musician come through a couple times now. Can you tell us about it?
We've been really lucky to have met Charlie Hunter, who is one of the top guitarists in the world for the jazz, and he's very much an innovator, and he now lives in Greensboro after living in Brooklyn forever and going to school in California. And we met him through car amplifiers because he plays car amplifiers, of course, and we've kind of struck up a friendship, a kinship of creativity, and the type of music that they're doing is just, it's Charlie. It's all improv. You never know what you're gonna get, but it's always gonna be just sweet and tasty stuff every time.
I like the way that sounds, man. Well, this is a great representation in this room of your artwork. I would pull a piece down and let him show it, but John be like, "Hey, man, don't put that."
Don't touch my Tim Lees,
That's
man.
right. That's right.
We might be able to swing one of those cameras around, but yeah,
We can see this guy up here in the corner of the camera.
there
Yeah,
you go.
little skull guy.
Oh, there, that's right.
Old
there it is.
Yeller.
Old Yeller.
Old Yeller.
So yeah, if you guys look at about, hold on, 1 o'clock, 11 o'clock on the screen.
Yeah, all the way top right-hand corner.
Yeah, see, that's that's a character, man. That's a character.
He's awesome. Thank you for.
I might be
getting
able to
that
just
from
do
me.
a little pan over here.
Yeah, that's your own unique style in that. you know?
Yeah,
it's not gonna
yeah,
work
I
out
mean,
for
If
me.
I see something like that, I'm like, oh, that must be Tim's.
Yeah.
And that's what I was saying before. It comes from doing so many other different disciplines that you find your own voice, like in playing an instrument,
Yeah,
like
it's
in
like
singing.
that.
Yeah, growing up, whether you're imitating Stevie Wonder or Ray Charles or Luther Vandross, through all that, or Tracy Chap. I love Tracy Chap. You end up, at least for me, I ended up finding my own voice, or like a Larry Graham with a deep, rich voice. You know what I'm saying?
And you do that. And yeah, you learn from those.
You want me to
those
turn the bass
people.
up, man?
Right now. Yeah.
But you do. You learn from it, and to, I guess, use art. You paint from that palette and create your own.
Yeah, and you
There
kind
go.
of like
Trademark.
once you put that, you learn from all those, and then you put it away for a while, and then you just do your own thing, and then all those influences come in, and if you're playing, you make your own guitar lick or your own color palette and drawing style. So it's been really great. I'm a huge fan of all the other artists.
So if people want to find your art, want to know about what's going on at Oddco, give us some contact information for us.
Well,
bud.
to find out what's going on, the best thing to do is follow us on Facebook at Oddco, or check our website at realoddstuff.com.
Or check the sound every Thursday night right here on this
You
line.
gotta come here because they're pretty much, you guys are in
I
touch
got
with
an
the
idea.
community.
You could stop by Oddco.
Yeah, you can
Have a
stop
good
over
beer.
by Oddco, and I'll make sure I tell you everything that's happening
And
show you the latest art.
and the
And
website
T-shirts.
Realoddstuff.com.
realoddstuff.com,
Yeah.
Facebook.
Facebook is just look for Oddco.
And for that person who may be in Idaho, Bora Bora, Switzerland, Sweden, and they're like, well, how can I find you? I've never been to Pittsburgh.
Well, you'll find all those directions online on the website. Plus, you can shop on the website for a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff you can only get here, but there's probably 500 items on that website. That you
So
can shop
if
from.
you're in Nigeria, if you're in Japan, go to that website
Yes,
and
yeah.
you buy something. And then if you so happen to be in our area, come on to the Oddco and come check it out.
Absolutely.
It's a Nice vibe. What are your hours, man, so people know when
We're
to be there?
working at Wednesday at 12 to 6, and Thursday, Friday, 12 to 6, and on Saturdays we stay open late if we have a band. If not, we close at 7. Yeah, and we'll have some more entertainment coming up here December 7th, and then we'll.
Oh, you got December 7th?
December 7th, we're having some old school 6-piece country with Cliff Hale and the Grand Old Ospreys, and they play like very old Hank Williams Sr. honky tonk music.
Very
That's
nice.
It's gonna be cool because
I'll be there for that one.
Yeah, it's gonna be really great.
Yeah,
They,
What day is is December 7th?
Saturday.
That's a Saturday.
Okay, all right.
they play at the Chicory Hills Dance Tent every year.
And does Mark Murphy play with them?
Yeah,
Does
Mark
he play drums with
local
them?
drummer Mark
All right.
Murphy. Yeah, he's killing it and doing great, and he's thankfully designed a really great poster for it. So look around town for those.
So just so everybody knows, what should you not request?
It says right there on the poster, if you request wagon wheel, go to hell.
Go straight to hell.
Yes, go straight to hell. It's great. Yeah, that's one of those, like, no, you can't play Blackbird, and you can't play Freebird, and you can't play Stairway to Heaven. You can't play wagon wheel.
And that means you can't whistle it either, guys.
Exactly.
So there might be a smart ass who said, "I'm just whistling it," which would be kind of cool if you could whistle that, but we might live stream that.
Yeah, that's one of those tunes that you just don't want to have somebody request for you, because then you have to make up a new excuse. Oh, we don't know that one.
Well, I'll tell you what, man. We're putting up your info there.
I really appreciate it.
Yeah, man. And will you come back and kick it with us? And maybe you'll let us come do one of these from the live from Odd
Yeah,
Club.
exactly.
Come kick it
Love
from
to
there.
do
That'll
it,
be
and,
cool.
That would be
we're-
fun.
Yeah.
We're trying to work on maybe streaming some stuff out for one of these gigs.
How's your bandwidth?
My bandwidth
Is good?
90 something. So
Okay,
I don't know.
that works.
That would work. Yeah.
So I'm going to tell you something as we go into our next sound. So someone told me, they said, Aaron, I was listening to it while I was cooking food. It's like great talk radio. Said then you went into a song. Said you went to a couple songs, but there was this one artist, and he described. I said, oh, that's a local guy, and we've been playing his music. He works at the library. So another local artist. His name is Wes Collins. And since Dave, you said you liked that and you were listening while you were making dinner. So here's a little bit of local singer, guitar writer, Wes Collins. From his album, Welcome to the Ether, this song is called Orange and Magenta.
So orange and magenta paddles out beyond the breakers to the swell. Male or female, black or white, from where I'm at you'd need binoculars to tell. I've been here on this rock for 15 days to true my compass and forget you. And every morning I come out and grab a little time that you need binoculars to tell. I can see my options iris down and fade away. True my compass and forget you. Guess I threw away my shot to hang my toes above a little town that you need.
one to blame. It changed. Yes, it changed. Some love that we shared, a momentary bliss. First to the second kiss, we changed, yes we changed. And we can leave this place as friends, but it won't be the same. Was it some pride that got in the way? And all in one day, I'm glad I loved you some than lose you, dear. And my lonesome fear, but now got no one to blame. No one to blame. And why did everything change?
All right, so that's Everything Changes by the Sunsetters, and we are back. Thank you to Brother Tim Lee for stopping by from the Oddco as we kick off our flagship edition, Art in Studio Art Guest. And, well, I don't know how to introduce because, well, Mark, you're like a cornerstone art person here in our area, man. You've been doing this for a while.
Yep.
You've been doing it all over the world. Your pieces are all over the world. You've trained lots of folks, and you know something a little bit about this Chatham studio tour. Ladies and gentlemen, won't you welcome to Check the Sound,
Hey.
Brother
Thank
Mark
you.
Hewitt, man. How are you?
Thank you, Aaron. I'm great. It's nice to be here representing the artists of Chatham County. I know there'll be others on the show, but just to give you a little history, we arrived here in '83 and started having a wonderful time selling pots and having these kiln opening events pretty soon afterwards. And one day, Kathy Holt, who at that time was a jeweler, had moved up from Florida, and she became the president of the Chatham County Arts Guild, and she'd come out to one of our sales and said, "This is way cool," because we had a mailing list, we had people coming in from all over the triangle, and she said, "How about we kind of tag a studio tour, Chatham studio tour, onto this particular weekend in December," which we'd identified as a no-brainer. It's just after Thanksgiving. It's when everybody's buying their Christmas gifts, and one thing led to another, and we were very glad to be able to get the studio tour going, and so more and more people would come to see us. We could send people, spread the good word, spread the vibe, get other people going all over the county, and it's become just the most wonderful studio tour. And you get to go to beautiful places, see all sorts of fabulous art, whether it's 2D, 3D. Some of it's in town, some of it's in the country. It makes for a fabulous outing.
So then if someone wanted to be a part of this, it sounds, I don't want to say a lot of moving parts, but it sounds like there's a lot of moving in this. How would a novice who wanted to say, "Hey, I want to be a part of this," how would they know how to traverse this to get the most out of the 2019 Chatham Studio Tour?
Well, there's the studio tour guide, then there's a very good gallery online. So and that's got a fabulous map, which tells you where everything is. There are various clusters that people go to, for instance, up in Farrington, and there are some for the intrepid travelers out in deep rural Chatham that hosts people from everywhere, and there's usually a festive vibe. I mean, people live in beautiful places out here. You get to really explore the back corners, and that's the thing to do, is go online, check out all the artists, figure out who you want to go and visit, circle them on the map, and make a day of it, or make a weekend of it.
Someone took a bite out of my program here. It may have been me because I was hungry when I
Yeah,
when I
it
when I
tastes
got
good.
here, but I can't see the website.
Oh,
and
I don't.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna say it's www.chathamartsguild.org, and I'm saying it because it's also on the back, so someone did what they're supposed to do.
Well, that's for dessert, Aaron.
Okay. So tell us about you, man. You brought some of your work here, but
Yeah.
you're a pretty famous guy in the ceramic pottery world, man.
Well, I grew up in England. My father and grandfather were managers of a big factory making industrial pottery, and I was the dark horse, the black sheep. I wanted to do my own thing, and I kind of followed the old hippie trail down to an old man who taught me how to make pots, and he was pretty celebrated in his own right. And after a 3-year apprenticeship with him, I came over to the States to work for another one of his apprentices up in Connecticut, and met my wife, Carol. And
Hey, to Carol, thank you for helping make this
yeah.
all happen. Because I reached out to Carol, and
Yeah.
and so thank you,
Oh,
Carol.
well, I mean, a lot of artists need somebody. I mean, basically, I pedal really fast and she steers, and
I like
and
I like that.
it's a classic mom and pop. I mean, it works for us, and I know a lot of people would like to have a Carol helping them. And sorry, I got her. And but so anyway, I was looking for a place to set up shop, and I got this interest in making traditional pots and using local clays. And so I wanted to be where there was a tradition, and the traditions in the South were based where the clay was. And you got all that lovely southern yellow pine. And back then, it was just before the kind of the huge New South wave broke on Chatham County, and we were able to steal a pretty little place out just east of town off the Hanks Chapel Road.
Oh yeah,
And, I saw it. It's the first place I ever looked at, and I said, I want it. And it was absurdly inexpensive.
I always wonder how people find I found it because my mother is from here generationally. But I always wonder, how do people outside of Pittsburgh actually
Well,
find Pittsburgh?
our little twist was that Carol's first cousin married a guy from Kinston who'd gone to UNC, and he's a jazz musician. He's a piano player, Robert Griffin. You may know him.
Of course I know
You're
Robert. Of
fans
course
of
I know
him, right?
Robert. Yeah.
And so they knew some people that had been looking around for cheap property in Chatham County, and said there was a particular realtor in Siler City, Rachel Johnson. And she said, why don't you give her a call? So we called and told her how little money we had. And she said, well, there's two places. One's a garage on a highway, which would be a good little retail spot. Or there's this cute old ramshackle farm at the end of a dirt road. I said, that sounds good. That sounds like all the places that my buddies in England had. And we came down and we bought it right then and there. I mean, it was crazy. Owner financed. And
Those were the days.
They were. And then I borrowed some money from my brother at 12% interest. I love him to death, but it was that was the 80s also. That was kind of like going rate. It's not.
Hey man,
cheap.
you choose your friends, not your family.
I know.
Apparently.
I know. And he's a stickler, so I had to pay up. And and then we just got going, and we plugged into the old traditional pottery scene here. And an analogy I like to make, which you'll enjoy, being musicians, is that the South has got a unique musical culture that has spawned the blues, jazz, gospel, bluegrass, rockabilly, Elvis, country. It's all Southern music, and it's all the result of this amazing cross-cultural pollination that's been going on between African American, Anglo-Scots, Irish for years, German, and same thing was happening within the decorative arts communities. And so you've got really interesting textiles from the South that are unique, and architecture and carpentry and woodworking, and in particular for me, the pottery. So I started looking at these old Southern pots made in the 19th century, and they just blew me away because they were I'd been trained to look at that kind of pottery. And here was a tradition that nobody kind of knew about. It was only just becoming known within academic circles. And again, the timing of my arrival here was fortuitous because there's a guy up in Chapel Hill, Terry Zugg, professor of English and folklore, who wrote this very good book called The Turners and Burners, no, the Folk Potters of Turners and Burners, the Folk Potters of North Carolina. And I would go and talk to him. I'd go and talk to customers and collectors of his, and collectors of old North Carolina pots, particularly in the Asheboro area and also in the Lincoln County area south of Hickory. And you got these different regional traditions within North Carolina. And then there are a couple of other ones down in South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, and they're interconnected. And I'm a historian of clay, and my degree is in geography, so I know quite a lot about like geology and clays and stuff, and I grew up in it. And so I was able to just like find my feet right away and get supported by some of the old timers who knew the guy that I trained with, and recognized, I was building this big wood burning kiln. I wanted to use local clay, and they I kind of wasn't a bullshitter, and I was going to get it done, and it was tough going to start with. I mean, I didn't really know what I was doing. I mean, it takes a long time to learn anything, but little by little, you just keep practicing, and eventually, all of these parts that I brought with me are very much reflective of the different traditions of North Carolina that I fused together rhythmically. I mean, modern music fuses all sorts of different elements together.
So tell us about 'em.
Well, okay, so this is a barrel, what I call a barrel mug. It's made out of a blend of 4 different North Carolina clays, and the decoration I actually stole from a potter called Thomas Chandler, who practiced in Edgefield, South Carolina during the sort of 1820s, 30s, 40s. And it's a looping swag made out, again, a kaolin, kind of a dirty china clay that comes up from near Spruce Pine in North Carolina. And this glaze is it's kind of an odd variation between the South Carolina glaze, which is just a feldspathic, it's a rock glaze with a little limestone in it. And I put some wood ash in it, which has the same fluxing capabilities as limestone, and you get these lovely drips coming down, which
that's very
kinda,
cool.
it's just
you mind if I check that out?
yeah, come on, it's cool, and they're well made, they're well balanced. People, for me, mugs are my favorite thing to make. They're the most intimate. You put them to your lips, you cradle them in your hands. They're very tactile.
I agree.
They're really fun to do. And then I make little either juice cups. I make even smaller shot glasses, and then these are what I call iced tea ceremony vessels, because back in England you got teacups and saucers and you drink it out of that, and then in Japan you got the tea ceremony, which is a cult of simplicity, and you have very stylized ritual objects and tea bowls for that. These are iced tea ceremony vessels because that's what people drink in the South. And you want a big tall tumbler, you want to put ice in it, and and a lot of tea is made in pitchers, sometimes bigger
course.
pitcher. Okay, so and you'll be interested to hear these that mark on the side of the pot is the result of wood ash that has settled on the pot during the firing, and at high temperature it stops melting. Because trees are actually made out, they're made out of silica, which is a glass former. It's also got some limestone in it, some calcium carbonate, or calcium, that causes it to melt into that little drip. And it's sort of like a natural decoration. And, here I got this book. I was lucky enough to be able to curate an exhibition over at the North Carolina Museum of Art back in 2005 and 6. And UNC Press published this book all about it. And, I've gone all over North Carolina looking at traditional pots, and there's a jug from Randolph County.
Looks like these.
And it's the same deal. So I'm basically, trying to make. Oh, here's this looping swag, for instance. There's one version of it. Okay, that's Thomas Chandler from Edgefield, and here's a bowl And it's
Like
this,
that bowl.
this is, yeah, and I've got, this is a cereal bowl, same decoration. The thing that's so wonderful about that, it's really crisp, precise decoration that you can do in one revolution. It's done quickly.
Is it okay that I use like so? You have a lot of students, a lot of people
Yeah.
you've taught, and I've bought from those folks.
Yeah.
And I use what I buy
Oh,
from it.
yeah.
Is that okay that I
Oh,
use
yeah,
it?
they're
Okay.
perfectly-
I
I
know I'm
mean-
supposed to let it sit there and people look at it.
No. I mean, I hate it when people just buy it and sit and look at it, but you can't control that. If people think it's too precious, I can't persuade them otherwise. But I mean, everything, a good pot is made to be used, and it should compel you to use it. You should want to use it.
Well, good. I use mine.
Yeah, and they're addictive. You just sort of, you've got to have that particular mug because it feels right. And so I'm always trying to finesse all my skills so that people, come and do it. So
there's a guy named Hamish. Did you?
Oh, yeah.
You worked with Hamish.
yeah, Hamish, I trained Hamish Jackson
Laura O'Keefe. You know who's
and Laura O'Keefe.
Yeah. I went through and I was
Yeah.
looking at some of the.
They're both great. I mean,
Yeah.
Laura's.
I bought from both of them.
Laura grew up in Pittsburgh, and Hamish is another Englishman. It's been fun to have an English guy in my studio for a couple of years. And this is some of my new stuff. I've getting a little bit more adventurous with my colors. And in a way, it's sort of like a return to the industrial roots that I've got, which were, some of the stuff was highly ornamented and gilded and bright colors. And I don't have those same industrial capabilities, but it's fun to kind of mess around with the color.
So when I reached out to Carol, she said you were getting ready for a
Oh,
firing.
yeah. We're actually firing right now.
All right, so that's a big deal for
Yeah.
for us novices. What is this grand firing that? How many times a year does it happen?
Well, we have 3 firings a year, but my kiln is huge. I mean, I put a third of a year's production into one kiln, and it's about the size of a school bus, but it's shaped like an upside-down boat, and it's got a chimney at one end and a big firebox at the other. And it takes me and my apprentices 5 days to load it, because I make some really big pots that are 4 feet tall.
Mm-hmm.
And a whole range, and you've got to build stacks of shelves to put the pots on and place balls of clay underneath every pot so they don't stick on the shelves, and you got to do it so carefully to maximize the number of pots that you get into the kiln and make sure nothing's going to fall over. And right now the kiln is at about 250 degrees, and it's cooking on gas. I've got a gas tank with a propane burner, and I got another burner. I'll be bumping it up tonight at a very steady incline. And then Carol will turn it up at about 2 o'clock in the morning and go to bed. And then I'll wake up at 4 and go out, and I'll switch it over to wood, and I'll burn oak until it gets up to 1,200 degrees, going up at 50 degrees an hour. Then we switch to yellow pine, and it goes up 100 degrees an hour. At a certain point tomorrow evening, we'll choke the atmosphere of the kiln. You basically, like when you flood a carburetor, it kind of stalls, and you can't get any movement. But when you do that with a firing, you kind of choke the atmosphere inside the kiln, and the smoke is looking for fuel, and it starts pulling oxygen molecules out of the clay and the glaze materials. Okay? And it changes the colors. You get, iron oxide is Fe2O3. And if you take an oxygen molecule out of it, it becomes FeO. And it's ferric oxide, and it's a different color. So you can play around. I mean, all of these colors are a function of kind of a smoky atmosphere, a very particular part of the firing. And then we ramp it up towards the end. It gets up to 2,400 degrees with wood. Okay, and that's hot, by the way.
It's got to be very hot.
And we're burning slab pine that's been cut to sort of 4-foot lengths, and we have a team of people. We have one guy stoking the main firebox, and then towards the end of the firing, there are 2 people either side, so we have a crew of 5, and it's nice to have a 6th-person kind of gophering and bringing wood and all that. So it's kind of madness.
I'd love to come and be a part of that, take a look at it, see how hot that is. So again, as our flagship for our in-studio art to kick off the 2019 Chatham Studio Tour, and this is year what again?
I don't know. Is it 20 or 30? No, it can't be
know,
30.
man.
It's getting. I mean, it's been a while. I don't know how many years.
So other artists who people should, I mean, they should check out everyone, but some of the
Yeah.
other people who do the large formats like Eddie White, Onika, some of the texture people like Janice, like we have all these different artists
Yeah.
around here that, you know, it's really something special. It shows the specialness of Pittsburgh, don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely. We've all gotten to know each other and enjoy not only our work, but you know, they've become our friends. And unfortunately, there's not going to be the Friday night event kicking off the studio tour where we all would gather. But it's just a sweet place to live, as we all know. And one of the big reasons why it is so sweet is we have all this cultural activity going on and all these diverse art forms, diverse artists doing and witnessing a progression of style and practice over the 35 years that I've been here. It's just miraculous.
Yeah, it's wonderful to see this art movement on all sides of arts and styles moving in Pittsburgh. And man, I thank you for bringing in your art. I thank you for coming here as soon as we reached out to you. And I thank Carol. If people want to know how to get in touch with you, how to see your work, can they order? I mean, can they order from you? Mail stuff? How does that work?
You know, I only take orders from my wife. And
Smart man. They should call Carol if they want to buy
I'm
something.
still alive.
Good
know?
man.
And,
If someone wanted to buy something, how would they?
Well,
and
the
they
best
don't
thing-
live in the area, or do they have to come see you?
Well, it's really best to come and see me. You know, I mean, people occasionally pester me online, and you know, it's much easier if you can make it. I mean, most of the people that come to our studio tour have received a kiln opening card. I have a sign-up page on our website.
What's the website?
It's markhewittpottery.com or just hewittpottery.com. Okay,
And they can see a lot of your work on
they
there.
can see my work, and I've got tons of articles and a resume and all sorts of stories. It's a fun site, and then you can sign up on the contact sheet for emails and regular mail or one or the other. And then you'll get a card 3 times a year, and you'll also get a newsletter that we put out 3 times a year. And then I'm on Facebook, Mark Hewitt. I've got a business one, WM Hewitt Pottery. I'm on Instagram. It's at
I'm just gonna ask Carol.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna put that when we put it on our website. I'll just ask Carol.
Yeah.
And she'll
Yeah.
make it happen.
But you can find me.
Mark, we appreciate you, man.
Yeah.
I'm really glad you came out, and thank you for what you do to
Well-
Pittsburgh and the people you mentor, and you're a good storyteller too, man. We just might have you come back, just tell some stories.
Well, and you're easy to talk to. So well done.
Well-
Both and your sound guy, whose name I don't know.
Let's may
John.
the force be
John.
with you, John Delaford.
That's fantastic. It's been a treat.
Hey, man.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Brother Mark Hewitt. And we're going to give you some more music here. Forgiveness.
If you don't deal in hate, then that's great. And to error, that is human. But forgiveness, you might find that at times it's kind of hard to find. But did you look inside? And could you see what was living in there? And do you know who is in control? 'Cause that's divine. We say, forgiveness divine. Alright. There's been a war going on between who is in the wrong and who is in the right, between political correctness and just being polite. Some people walking in the darkness and ain't looking for no light. And all the people in politics, they need a conscious mind between what they say is truth and their fictitious lies, yeah. It's seems like we're running out of gas and can't afford to make it last. And look at all the money we keep spending. And tell me what we've been defending. What are we defending? And tell me what now? What are we really defending now, 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 now? Running out of gas and can't afford to make it last. And look at all the money we keep spending. And when will the wars be ending? Stop living in hate before it's too late. There's been a many, many era and all through the human race. I say forgiveness you must find, you must find. And now is the time. Now's the time to look way, way down deep inside. Now's the time to see what's been living in there. And man, don't you know that you are in control? And that's divine. It's so divine. It's so divine, yes. I sing a song called Forgiveness. Forgiveness divine. Start living with a conscious mind, and you will find forgiveness is divine. It's so divine. Forgiveness is divine. It's so divine. Forgiveness is divine. Yes. When you start living with a conscious mind, then you will find forgiveness is divine.
for me. And you know, without you there's no me, and baby, but we know what to do to work things out. Why show haters in our life attention that they want what we have and not to mention our love is bigger than they can comprehend. But we got our love. Our love. Our love. We've got our love. Day and night, night and day, you are on my mind. There's no way me for you for me, 'cause this love was meant to be. Day and night, night and day, you are on my mind. There's no way me for you for me, because this love was meant to be. You mean the world to me. Hey, hey. You're my lady. You're my lady, baby. Oh. Give it to me, 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 give it to me.
Oh mama, oh papa, hey. Oh mama, oh papa, hey. Oh mama, papa, I've gone to Rastafari now. Oh mama, papa, I've gone to Rastafari now. Oh mama, I've gone to Rastafari now. Oh mama, papa, I've gone to Rastafari now. I leave the Baptist church for now. And to the King I still do bow. Oh mama, papa, I've gone to Rastafari now. Goodness and love you instilled in me. You made a boy into a man with pride and dignity. And just to think that I am one of three, ever faithful, ever sure, will always be. Glorious things spoken of the Almighty, lineage of King David's Solomonic tree. No longer I pray upon my knees, I stand and chant out his name and his glory will be seen. Oh mama, papa, I've gone to Rastafari now. Oh mama, papa, I've gone to Rastafari now. Goodness and love you instilled in me. You made a boy into a man with pride and dignity. And just to think that I am one of three, ever faithful, ever sure, will always be. Glorious things spoken of the Almighty,
lineage of King David Solomonic tree. No longer I pray upon my knees. I stand and chant out his name and his glory will be seen. Oh mama, papa, Rastafari now. Oh mama, papa, I've gone to Rastafari now. Oh mama, papa, I've gone to Rastafari now. Oh mama, papa, I've gone to Rastafari now. Oh mama, oh papa, hey. Oh mama, oh papa, hey.
All right. Had my man Mighty Joshua, and we heard from Wes Collins. We heard from my man Joel Treese. We heard from the Sunsetters and Rasta Rafiki, and we are back checking this out. Big up my man Mark Hewitt. Mark Hewitt's he's like the Michael Jordan in the ceramic pottery world. So we just had Michael Jordan walk up in here. You didn't even know that, did you? No, it was Mark's really cool guy, and he's quite the artist, and he's a big part of this community here in Pittsburgh and the art scene here. So yeah, big up Mark. So man, what I did not tell the folks, because I did have some people saying, hey, you know what? It's great to listen to you guys and find out what's happening, what's going on. They say we're like a one-stop shop. So I'm going to talk about what is happening this weekend and going into the Thanksgiving week. So at the Roadhouse on tonight, they have a game night. If you're in the area, you want to stop by, it's starting around 8 o'clock. They have a game night, or 6 o'clock, I'm sorry. On tomorrow night, November 22nd, 8 p.m., a band called Flood District. They are a synth pop style band, and that starts at 8 o'clock. On Saturday, November 23rd, 8 p.m., the BC Bombers are coming to the Roadhouse bringing their blues. And then on Monday, you got the Swing Band Night Mondays, and yeah, that's what they're kicking. And Greg also wanted me to let you know that I didn't even have any idea that they were doing this, but they're also doing this thing called the ready-to-go family meal styles for just $25. You can order between 11 a.m. and 5 p.m. for pickup between 3 p.m. And now you get to choose one entree and 3 sides, and cookies are included. Can you beat that? They have entrees like North Carolina herb roasted bone-in chicken, sliced turkey with gravy, pot roast with gravy, pasta marinara with a vegan Italian sausage. The sides are sauteed vegetable medley, fresh green beans, coleslaw, mashed potatoes, mashed sweet potatoes, Gouda mac and cheese. I think they say Howda mac and cheese, rice pilaf, green salad with apple cider vinaigrette. And that is a special thing they do. So they have it ready to go if you don't want to cook, take home something nice. So they got that going on at Pittsburgh Roadhouse. I didn't even know that. So that's the music happening, and that's food happening. We had my man Tim Lee here earlier talking about the happenings at the ICO. Della Forest, may the force be with you. We know anything else right now? We still waiting on some feedback of some other spots.
Yeah, I got nothing, man. You know how it is.
I know how it is like that,
I'm over here
man.
trying to work, man.
That's right. I hear. I'm glad someone is, man.
We'll have to pull up Postal's menu, see what they got going on for this weekend.
Exactly. We will.
And see what's happening at the City Tap, too.
That's right. So you know what, man? I wore this shirt tonight because I missed a life celebration in my hometown of Baltimore today. My man Kenny Thompson, they celebrated him today. So anybody from Baltimore watching right now, y'all see I got my Ram for Life for our boy Kenny Thompson that passed last week, and y'all celebrated his life in Baltimore today. I'm sorry I could not be there, but I'm repping Kenny and celebrating his life with you guys. And I heard a lot of you all wore your Randallstown Ram for Life shirts today. So yeah, Kenny Thompson, brother, we celebrate your life, man. All right, and that leads me right to our next segment here. So we like to cover art, music, and there's always stories that create art and music on so many styles. And I've been fortunate to be able to work on a project here right in Circle City Recording. My man John Delaforce doing the recording and of a project about a brother by the name of Corey Jones. And so here to tell us about it, to share the song, to tell us the story of Corey Jones, ladies and gentlemen, won't you welcome to the Check the Sound, Brother Ned Davis.
Hey there.
what is happening, Aaron.
What's
Thank
going
you
on,
so much
man?
for having me.
Yeah, man.
It's the story of Corey Jones. They shot him down, just going on. He was a drummer, an honest man. They shot him down in the promised land. You know what that's all about, man. I think we can all identify.
Yeah, man. So, yeah, that's quite the intro. I need to carry one of them when I walk in places,
know,
too.
man.
I'm going to have one of them
Yeah.
and a cape with me, too.
Well, in the old days before MIDI and electronics, you know, that's all they had, bro, their pocket. It's like, but poor Corey, he was a friend of ours that was coming back Palm Beach County from a gig 4 years ago. And he basically was pulled over and he was on the phone trying to get help. And the policeman pulled up undercover and he was gunned down, unfortunately. And it was a tragedy in our music community in West Palm Beach. Our friends and brothers down there, the music community were devastated. So this is an homage to our friend Corey. He's a great drummer, really sweet guy, and you know, left too soon. But we want to remember him and honor him with this song. So it's the story of Corey Jones.
And tell us who were some of the musicians who helped put this together,
Yeah,
man.
great
I know you
question.
had a very close friend, Joey.
Joey Tenuto Jr., who's another great blues musician, young guitarist, joined us for the track. He was in his band. He actually played with Corey. And so that hole is always going to be there, man. So it's nice to have that combination of our friends and brothers coming together. And you were on that track too, man.
Thank
So
you. I was on the track. Hey, man.
background vocals by Aaron
My
Hall.
pleasure. My pleasure to be on the track. But it's more so about this story, you know. So that's what I'm enjoying hearing about. And you said it took place in Florida. Have you released the song? And if so,
Yeah, so it's on iTunes and Spotify. So look it up, Ned Davis and Joey Tenuto Jr. as artists. And we'd like to thank Circle City Studios and John De La Force for making it all happen, man. Came together great. So.
I did the bass honors on that, and Dorian Dimitrov played drums, so we handled kind of the rhythm section.
that's
So
right.
it was fun. We had a good time.
I think we're going to have a sample coming up.
I think we're gonna try and play the whole thing.
Oh,
here
we're
at
gonna
a
play the
point.
song.
Play it.
Yeah, man. So
So
again,
speaks for itself, yeah.
again, you know, you brought the song in here. I saw you laying it down, and you had something on a phone and something on a MIDI. That's an old school term. Maybe something on your computer. And I was able to sit here and for a decent part of it, watch you piece it together. And you and John worked on that. And big up to you, John, here at Circle City Recording, man, for the work you put in to help
Thanks,
build
man.
that song. I got to watch the whole thing
Master.
get put together, and yeah, it got a lot of that got put together right here in the studio. So yeah.
And it got mastered at Kitchen Mastering in Carborough. Brent turned what I did and put some nice analog magic on top of the analog magic I put on it, and then ran it through tape, so it gave it this fat, old school kind of saturation, which I think works really good with Ned's voice. It was definitely part of that sound.
So what we're hoping is for everyone who's listening, share the stream. For those of you who know Ned, and hopefully, Ned, you share this on your Facebook. If not, go back and share it so people can hear this song and share this story about Brother Corey Jones, and let all his friends and family down in Florida and other folks know that here in North Carolina, we're sending them some love and we lift him up, and we're celebrating his life. We celebrate
After
life
4
today.
years,
You hear?
and yes, our friend Corey. Thank you so much, Aaron, for making this happen. And we're just trying to, you know, end racism and make it happen for all the people out there.
Well, Brother Delaforce, we queued up.
That's a hell of a statement.
Yeah, it is,
Yeah,
man.
we're good.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen,
Oh, yeah. Why don't you play for me for a second, Ned? Let me hear that one more time.
so ladies and gentlemen, here you are, your debut of the story of Corey Jones, y'all.
This is the story of Corey Jones. They shot him down, just going home. He was a drummer and an honest man. His car broke down in the promised land. Off the exit ramp.
brother, policeman, well, he was undercover. Thought he heard an earnest plea. Shot 3 times, and Corey fell down to his knees. Yeah, he said, why did you kill me, man? And the cop said you were gonna flee from the sun. Yeah, well, that enough to deliver me. Corey said, don't make no sense to me. The cop lied, said he had sin on his breath, but the facts add up to just another innocent death. This is the story of Corey Jones. He had to make his bread, but he ended up dead. So long, dear Corey Jones. He got off the wrong ramp and ended up dead. Deliver us from evil intentions. We won't go there. There will be no mentions. But the racist fire is a funeral pyre. Corey died by the eternal enemy. There's a hatred among brothers. Hatred among brothers. Hatred among brothers. He said, why did you kill me, man? The cop said you were gonna flee from your son. You understand.
Yeah, man.
There you go. Corey Jones. Thank you, Ned.
Thank you. Aaron,
Great
so
song,
much.
man. Great song. And yeah, let's see if we can keep pushing this song out and letting people hear it and share it, and then celebrate brother Corey's life. You hear? So, John, you know what I did?
What'd you do?
Hey, man, I pulled up that Postal Fish Company menu.
Oh yeah, good job on that, man.
Yeah, man. Somebody's got to do some work
I know.
around here. Well,
Hey,
people.
the screen ain't gonna change itself.
That's right. People did say they get used to hearing these updates, so we gotta be consistent. And speaking of, since people like what's happening at the Shucked Raw Oyster on the Half Shell Bar there, I will let them know that they have Bell Reefs, North Carolina, because we know they keep it all North Carolina and local. Harker's Island, which I know you like, and Stones Bay. So those are your choices there.
What time do they close?
I want to say
10.
Let's see, it's right in front of me. 11 a.m. Bump. Well, let's say 10. And if you go there and they closed at 9, tell them that you heard on Check the Sound they closed at 10. You get a $5 coupon.
From who? Who gives you the $5 coupon?
We're working on that. We're working on that. Hey, man, they got that Low Country She crab soup.
It sounds good with some oysters. That's a meal, man. I'm telling you. Just go around the world on the oysters. Get, 4 of each out of 3 kinds. Get you a dozen. And then a bowl of that she crab soup. And don't even worry about anything else. You're thinking about some dessert. I don't know. I say that every time, but then I end up getting a piece of fish, too.
That's
so.
right. That's right. And on that fish realm, of course, they have a cast iron roasted core sound flounder. And I've had this set that it's on, this tomato stewed butter beans. Oh, that's great. With a Creole mustard vinaigrette. Yeah, that's slamming. They have a pan roasted black drum. Yeah, they keep that drum. They keep beating that drum because it works.
Oh, yeah, because that's what's, with their line catching and stuff right now is drum.
See, that's what they're line catching right now. And they have your Sea Island fry, which is your traditional fried shrimp, oysters, fish, hush puppies. You get some slaw. You get stuff to dip it in. And it looks like they've brought a seafood gumbo to the table for these cold nights. How about that, John?
That sounds good.
And I will say this. They do a confit like nobody's business. I know they always have it because they know I'm going to talk about it. They have a roasted duck leg confit. And, Ned, I don't know if you know nothing about this, but with some red-eye gravy and grits. You ever heard of red-eye gravy?
It sounds delicious.
So, Rhett, you got to get close to that microphone for me, Ned. There we go.
Sounds delicious.
All right. You know what red eye gravy is? They put the little
Red-eye
bacon
gravy.
pieces in there.
Little bacon, little
Render
crunch.
that?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know about that red-eye gravy. You got to get a little closer to that microphone there.
I'm there.
So, yeah, they got those. And they do dumplings. They have a wood-grilled Haw River mushroom greens and goat cheese. Yeah, they do dumplings like nobody's business. I will say, try the milled grits. Try the milled grits. They're Bubba's fresh milled grits. And if you're a fan of grits, they're really good, man.
I like
Really
grits.
good. I find them to be quite tasty. We got this Thanksgiving weekend coming up. We're gonna have a solo, but no, I'm kidding. We're gonna see who's playing at the City Tap next week. I guess we'll come back around.
We'll throw an update. I'll go take a picture of the board and throw it on the comment section so y'all can see what's going on with it.
There you go. And anything at the other side? Did we call it the other side yet?
The other side, that's what it is. That's what Dylan calls it, so it's his,
All right. So
right?
at the other
It's his side.
at the other side. And Ned, if people want to find the song Corey Jones, where can they find it?
Well,
Man?
you go to iTunes and type in Ned Davis and Joey Tenuto Jr. or your Spotify or any of your streaming services, Amazon Web, and it'll be there. The story of Corey Jones.
There you go. So
Cool,
yeah,
man.
man, that's what we got on a Thursday night. A week from today, it'll be. Some people call it Thanksgiving. Some people call it Friendsgiving. It's time to get together. Turkey Day. Time to get together, and it's like some people make stuffing, some people make dressing. Dressing, in my world, is something my mother puts in this flat pan and bakes, and you cut out squares, perhaps put it with some mashed potatoes and pour gravy.
Oh, I always considered the stuffing doesn't have the gizzard stuff from inside the turkey mixed in with
Yeah,
it,
they
and
take it
dressing
out
does.
The rear end there, John. Yeah,
Say what?
they take it out the rear end there. Sir.
Yeah, stuffing, I always thought you stuff that in the bird.
Maybe.
That's why,
You know,
I mean,
and dressing's done in a pan.
Stuff element.
if you can answer this question for not this week's show, but although I will
Sonny knows the answer.
Sonny does know the answer. Sonny, if you get the answer right, you can get a voicemail message on your
With the
phone.
$5 coupon.
On your phone, done by Ned Davis and his harmonica. All right. I will do a special Taj Talk show during the day on Thursday, Thanksgiving Day, where we're going to highlight a lot of the area high school sports folks. Northwood has a pretty good basketball team this year, so we're going to have Coach John Berry here, and he's going to talk about the basketball season coming up for all Chatham County. We're going to have some of the players come on. We're going to talk Thanksgiving stuff, so that'll be a special Taj Talk show during the day on Thursday. And then the following Thursday, we'll be back here checking the sound. And don't we have some in-house music guests coming for that Thursday, John?
I believe so. Yep, I will know for sure tomorrow.
All right, and
So-
we will post that. So share the stream, share the stream, share the stream, and as always, be good to somebody. We live in interesting times. Thanks to our man Ned Davis who
Thanks,
came
Ned.
You,
to
man,
rock
and
it.
Johnny.
You
Thanks.
know, thanks to our Mark Hewitt who came out. Thanks to Tim Lee. Thank you guys for sharing the stream and watching it. And everybody's being good to one another like they should. And yeah, man, we're gonna go out like we came in, just kicking
With
it.
a song in your heart.
There you
There
go.
you go, man. All right, thanks a lot.
Thanks, man. Welcome to the Ether with Wes Collins.
Take her right there at the SO with that old Purina silo, straight on through to where the pavement got redone. It's an hour and some change to where you're going, but you can bank a little time if you get off the 301. It's pretty thin for half an hour left to right across the dial. You want a song, you got to sing it in your head. Once you clear the interference, you got a solid out company unless you pull a parking just start to melt when you step out into the rain. Looks like you might be made of sugar after all. Jam your hands into your pockets, hike your shoulders, bow your head. At least you're dry between your collar and your chin. Pick up half along the road and marching faster than the traffic till somebody rolls their window down. Here we are again. Welcome to the ether. You got towers everywhere. Welcome to the ether. That's all we ever say. Any trip can be a dance if you know how to stick the landing. And we can get you there a couple times a day. You for climbing up into your head when reception gets spotty. Nothing you buy or consume or collect gets you comfortable in your body. Welcome to the ether, rooted to the driveway. Welcome to the ether. All to see your face. It can take you off the board if you hang out up here too long. So we know sometimes you have to go